Yeah, that's what I'm gonna print. It'll be a lot easier if you want to print it. Just come over here and just give me names and I'll get the addresses later.
Slideshow. Basically, interesting pictures at Roundup, both regional and national, and Cosworth functions over the years. This is our 10th anniversary Roundup. We've been at it a couple years longer than that. Bob's kind of crazy about Cosworth, and Fred and I raced Cosworth for many years in showroom stock in SCCA and also in GT3. And I have always said that it takes a very special person to own a Cosworth. He has to be very patient. He has to be very caring. He has to be kind of crazy. And I think we all fit the bill. To be a very special Cosworth person to me is something special. I have enjoyed over the years, 10 years of meeting wonderful people in wonderful places from all walks of life, and you are all very special people to me. And in closing, while Bob's getting ready, I'd like to say to each and every one of you, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure serving you. It has indeed been a labor of love. Thanks for coming.
This won't take long. I have my notes here. Sound engineer, Royce Schechter.
Royce, put your music on.
All New York boys have those.
New York issue. Check the video bump realize.
Rewind Is it plugged in? All right.
I think this song, more than any song I've ever heard, kind of says it all about Cosworth Bank and this organization. I think it's the spirit of any collective car club, keeping the cars alive and staying alive, both the cars and ourselves. There are a few things that I learned in school about public speaking. They said, if you're nervous when you're up in front of a group, just imagine everybody out there was naked. It makes it a lot easier. It certainly has made it a lot easier for me tonight. And I want to thank you for that. I've got to read the notes here, so I don't get anything wrong. Have the next slide, please. This club was conceived in 1976. In 1976, I contacted Chevrolet and gave them an outline for the Cosworth Bank Owners Association. I got a very nice letter back from somebody in public relations, which I still have at home, saying it's a wonderful idea and I wish you all the success in the world, but we don't want to be involved with it. There was some sort of a message there, I think. For 2 years, I gathered information on Cosworth Vegas, particularly on people in Southern California. And in 1978, I seriously started recruiting members in Southern California. And in 1979, this expanded to a national program. The very first meeting of the Cosworth Bank Owners Association was in September 1978. Anything like that? That's not September 1978. You know, it's wrong again, folks. Just hold it right there. Back that up a little bit. These are some special Cosworths throughout Cosworth history. This, of course, is Cosworth number 1, sitting in a Sloan Museum. They had that in the lobby when we were in Detroit. And the next one is the famous Gold Rush Cosworth Vega, which held a couple of world records on the drag strip, briefly. That is the Core Vega in the same museum, the Stone Museum. Another shot of the Core Vega. And yet another shot. They really liked stripes in those days. That's a part that used to belong to me and doesn't anymore. The famous or infamous Testarossa Cosworth. The engine is now running in SCCA in the East and doing very, very well. The body is sitting in Mission Viejo. It doesn't belong to me, but it does belong to a very enthusiastic Cosworth owner who's going to put it back on the street with a 1961 Buick aluminum V8. That's another shot of San Carlos. That is a car and driver rally car. What's left of it. That's after it came back from New Zealand on its famous round the world tour. And there's another shot of that. I wish we could go to the next slide. That said, it's sitting in a wrecking yard in the down in your area, I believe, by a racetrack. The fellow won't sell it, and he just lets it sit there and rest. It's kind of sad. Next slide, please. And there is the Golden Eagle car, which run by Golden Eagle Racing, and a fellow named Jim Barty, who started off in Cosworth, Vegas, and is now a pretty famous racer out there in IMSA. He's driving for Buick this year, I believe. There is a car that there were, as far as I can find out, there were 10 of these that had a dealer installed striping that says Cosworth Rally on it. And I think, Jake, did you have one of those? Big down here? Yes. Did you have one for that stripe?
I had that one, I believe.
That car, as I understand, had a rather serious engine fire and went to Cosworth Heaven. That's Cy Scheinberg, who runs an ITA out in California, and runs absolutely box stock wheels, street tires, and doesn't win a lot of trophies, but he sure has more fun than those guys in those Datsuns are cheating like the devil. There's an interesting idea for Cosworth Vega. Some of you who remember many years ago, this car was on the cover of the Club magazine. What that fellow has done is just taken another upper part and turned it upside down and got some very, very large yellow road lights on there. And that was one man's idea of a nifty Cosworth Vega. This is the Oberdorfer Indy V8 engine that was under development using Cosworth Vega cylinder heads. There were a number of engines using Cosworth Vega cylinder heads, V8s, that were put into development, and none of them ever came to fruition. Next. And that, of course, is Dr. John's speed record holder in 1376. That's another view of the same car. Excuse me, that's Jack Ireland, excuse me, in Baltimore. And there's a car that you may recognize. You ever see that car before?
I can see it.
Yeah, okay. Next. And there, of course, is the world famous Flying Melinda version of the Cosworth Vega. You don't often see this version of it. That had vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. And for those of you who get our Region 16 newsletter, you may recall a couple of years ago we had an article about this car that had the invisible Japanese tires on it. Next. And there, of course, is the most famous Cosworth Vega of all, a four-wheel drive Cosworth Vega. Car that will seldom be seen. I don't remember that fellow's name. I did pull that picture out of my collection. That's this little boy who now is probably 18 years old, out in college somewhere. And here we are back to the first meeting again. September 1978, Nine Trail, California, with 40 people from 3 states and 16 cars. Next. And first 3 people arrived, and I thought probably that was going to be it. Next slide. And then a few more showed up. And then we all got together and had our picture taken. And that right there, that is the genesis of the club that we have nationally today. I don't think there's one person in that group, by the way, that still is in the club other than myself. The very last kind of the last survivor was our friend over in Phoenix, Arizona, who sold his car and sold effects on all of his good cars. And he's gone now, so I'm sort of the sole survivor of that first meeting. This is another shot of that group as it went on, which was sort of Region Zero at the time before we went national. At a meeting at the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. Nice. In 1980, we had the first Roundup in Clarksville, Tennessee. It was hosted by Jim and Pam Clark and Bill Hutton. And the first guest speaker was Bill Howe from Chevrolet, who at that time was running the race department, but they had a wonderful euphemism from it. I forget what it was. You remember what the euphemism was for the racing department of Chevrolet?
Product promotion.
Product promotion was the euphemism for it. And we had Phil Good from Vindex Corporation. And probably the greatest autocross course we've ever had the opportunity to be on. They shut down the airport in Clarksville, and we just sort of took it over. And we had a straightaway that's been about 3/4 of a mile long. And that's Jim and Pam Crane, who is now, I understand, down in Florida. He's a police officer. And you can tell how excited Pam is about the whole thing. This, by the way, this is before they had color film. That's how old. That really was a 10-top. And that's a gentleman from Chevrolet. That's Bill Howe. Next picture. And there the cars kind of lining up out there. You see a red station wagon. Maurice may remember that. And those were the cars coming off after making our practice laps around the airport, coming off in the corner there. And here, of course, this is important because this is an actual photograph of the first naval battle of Clarksville, Tennessee. And I want you to notice particularly the second fellow from the left. That's Maurice Schechter 10 years ago. Hasn't changed a bit. But that is a historical for the record. That is the first naval battle that ever occurred in Clarksville, Tennessee.
I'm sorry, I'm the one in brown.
You're the one on the far left, aren't you?
He's the one, excuse me, he's the one on the far left. Who was that handsome chap next to you?
That was Mike Springall's brother from England.
In 1981, we're in Detroit, Michigan, with John and Kathy Caldwell and Paul and Stephanie Rucker hosting. Our guest speaker was Jim Hall, who at that time was with Grotesque magazine, who's been with several other magazines, and now is with Chevrolet's engineering department. Our second speaker was Tony Hussain of Old Cars Weekly, who's been a long-time booster in Cosworth Vegas. And we had a really fun time. We had a sneak preview of the '82 Camaro, which Jim Hall sort of snuck out the back door of Chevrolet and brought up under cover of darkness. We all looked at that car and oohed and awed and drooled all over it because we thought it was the most wonderful thing we'd ever seen. And now, 10 years later, we look at a Camaro and say, yeah, that's not much. But at the time, it was really swoopy. Here we see the lovely and talented John and Kathy Caldwell.
How much do you want for that?
I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story of dedication and why John is dressed the way he is. John is not a sloppy dresser.
It started the dress code.
But you know, I remember this night. I will never forget it. John was out getting a set of tires. At that time, he was with Goodyear, and he was running a Goodyear store. And we had a guy who needed a set of tires. I can't remember what happened. His original tires had all gone to tire heaven or something. And he was out trying to get these tires mounted for this fellow who had to drive, I don't know, thousands and thousands of miles. And you notice I had hair then too. This is really old thing. But John got back just in time to get his award, and we're all happy to have him with us today. And there's Paul and Stephanie on the left. They don't look a day, are we? Let's see what we have next is